Noel, Stott, African Nuclear, Chemical and Biological Disarmament and Non-proliferation Policy Analyst and Researcher, joins me to unpack this. Good to see you, Noel, and thanks for your time. Now, today is the International Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons. Now, help us make sense of the significance of the day.
Look, I think it's very significant, especially in today's world with the situation in Ukraine, with Putin threatening to use nuclear weapons, and more recently, the failure of the Treaty on the Non-proliferation of Nuclear Weapons Review Conference, which happened last month in August. States parties sat down for a month, 4 weeks, and they couldn't come to an agreement on the way forward in terms of nuclear disarmament. So we really need to continue to build the pressure at a civic level. Civil society and like-minded states really need to come together.
And since there are no nuclear weapons on the continent, because we saw that South Africa gave its weapon out many years ago, why should the continent be concerned about nuclear disarmament?
Well, this is a question that comes up quite frequently, but I think, and people often see the nuclear weapons issue as a northern issue, something that's between the US, Russia, as your insert said, China, France, the UK. But nuclear weapons don't respect national borders. We live in a globalized world. Any use of nuclear weapon will affect Africa, will affect the Southern Hemisphere. Telecommunications, food security, and also if you just think of all the money that goes into developing such weapons, modernizing them, which could be used for development, whether it's in the south or the north, and for food security and human security.
And Noel, comment, if you will, on Antonio Guterres saying eliminating nuclear weapons would be the greatest gift we could bestow on our future generation.
Well, getting rid of nuclear weapons was the first General Assembly resolution way back in 1946, obviously as a result of the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So it's been a long time coming. Unfortunately, the NPT, the treaty that governs nuclear weapons, it sits on 3 pillars: disarmament, number 1, non-proliferation, so preventing other countries other than the 9 existing countries that have nuclear weapons from getting nuclear weapons, and also to allow for the peaceful use of nuclear energy, whether that's for electricity or for medical isotopes, for treating cancer, for improving agricultural products. The unfortunate thing is that treaty has failed to a large extent on the disarmament pillar of that treaty. It has prevented many countries from not pursuing nuclear weapons. It has assisted countries in developing the peaceful use. But the problem is, on the disarmament side, nothing has really happened in terms of that treaty.
Well, Noel, before I let you go, because it's been so established listening to you that nuclear, it has its good and it has its evil. How can the world make these countries with such weapons have restraint not to use them, against the good of our existence?
Well, I think there are a number of strategies. Obviously, at the diplomatic level, there are ongoing efforts to persuade the 9 countries that have nuclear weapons to give them up. But now there is a groundswell of civil society, young people getting involved, in the campaigns to get rid of nuclear weapons. We also have to try and change the possibility of nuclear weapons being used by, for example, taking some off, or all of them off alert status, which is called de-alerting. We as civil society, or as ordinary citizens, we can put pressure on our pension schemes, our banks, not to invest our money in the production of nuclear weapons, or in the companies that produce nuclear weapons or their components. There's quite a lot that we can do as ordinary citizens.
Noel Stott, many thanks for speaking with us.
It's a pleasure.